Let's talk about the Gen AI challenges. So Gen AI's challenges mostly talks about the challenges while developing or while using a Gen AI. The first one here is the interpretability. Okay. So this is like the ability to understand the decision making behind model's response. So whenever a model responds, generally it will just provide you a response like a output. You provide it with the input and it will provide a output. It will not tell you like how it reached to that output. Okay. So the challenge is in sometimes we need that. We need how that decision is made, at least uh, a overview of that, how it reaches to that answer. So that is the interpretability. So you would have seen in many of the models, like the Chat GPT or like Claude. So now you would be seeing options like whenever it answers, your model answers, it will show you a source as well, like from where this knowledge it fetches. Okay, so that is the interpretability. You can know like how it reached to that answer. Next is the toxicity. Toxicity is obviously a challenge for Gen AI. The the model should never be offensive, or it should not provide a disturbing or inappropriate output. So we have to have the toxicity always lowest possible. Next one is the bias. So there can be bias within a model output. So it can be like favoring certain individuals or a certain group of individuals. Okay. Or it can discriminate as well certain groups. Okay. So bias, how a bias comes into a model is maybe it can come during the training phase. Somehow the data which you are feeding it is having, even if it's a little bias towards a group, maybe your model can get that bias from the training data. And when you are answering, when the model is answering also at that time also, you can feel that it's a little bit biased. So we have seen this, right? I think there were news as well that the model is a little bit biased towards a separate group, and that's there in the world. We whenever we see like from wherever the model is also trained on the real world examples. Okay, so there are bias within the world, but what our challenge for the Gen AI is that there shouldn't be any bias. Even if in the world there is bias, even if the data which is available throughout the world, maybe there is some bias towards some groups or someone, but the model should not have. Okay, so we need to control that the model should never have a bias. Next is the hallucination. Hallucination is a case when your model output seems to be very realistic. Okay, your model sounds confident and logical, but still the output is incorrect. It's not real. Okay, so such cases should be avoided. Next is the non-determinism. Non-determinism is like we know like Gen AI model will not answer the same. If we ask the same question again and again, the answer can be different. Sometime it can be slightly different and sometime it can be more different. But there can be cases where we don't want different answers for the same question. Sometimes we want it, right? Because sometimes we want the model to sound more human like. So that's why we want it not to be exactly same answer giving for the same question again and again. But in some cases, this is a challenge that we don't want a different answers. We want the answer to be much similar. So there we have this determinism. Next is the data privacy and security. So this challenge talks about the leakage of private data or sensitive data. So since your model is trained on a lot of data, there can be some PII or some sensitive data within the training, but the model should not be leaking such things in the response. So that's the challenge for the data privacy and security.